Got our drinks ready.
Another good episode coming here, I
Can't
guess.
believe it. This is episode 4. We want to welcome all our guests to episode 4 of Pipes and Polish. I'm here with my co-host, Tom Ford, the one and only.
You always say that I'm the one and only.
That's it. There's the other Tom Fords out there, but you're the only one that matters.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
Thankful to be in here in your beautiful warehouse. It's a little
Thank
chilly
you.
today, and I'm a wuss.
It
so,
is.
Hence the
It
jacket.
is. I didn't realize how cold it was going to be. So
Shout out to Rooster Bus up in Flagstaff. Got this.
I like that.
Really nice, waxed canvas. What do we call it? Little shacket?
Little parka.
Little parka.
Little Sherpa.
That's perfect.
I like it.
You got your drink made over there?
I do. Thank you. What are we drinking today? You picked it.
So Tom was super fancy last week, and we had some Knob Creek, I think, in the last episode we had, with some little accoutrements in there. This week, if anybody knows this label up here, Kirkland. Where's that from, Tom?
Costco.
That's a Costco one. So
they do a good job.
You know what? I put a little Luxardo cherry in there with the little syrup. That's it. I kept it straight over cube, and I think this is drinkable. It doesn't compare to your Knob Creek from last episode. That was just on point, but
I like the difference though.
Yeah,
it's a little lighter, not as sweet. So
it's not bad. We've been getting to see a lot of each other. Over the last 7 days, 10 days?
We have.
Oh my gosh, Tom invited me out to go to waste management, and I was anti-waste management this year. Don't ask me why. It's just, crowds and drinking and things that I'm not really into. But when your buddy asks you to go, we put in a little work down there. We only spent 3 hours there. Then we had a nice.
We had a good time. We were invited out by Hubbard Radio. They invited me out there to kind of show me what they can do, and we had a nice little suite on hole 18, and great spread, great drinks.
It was dialed in. It was a great experience for sure. Then we busted out of there and we did a little lunchy loo. We went to Buck and Rider and grabbed some coffee. It was a great afternoon with it was good. The brother, and then I got to see you again because Tara's birthday happened.
Yeah, I want to thank you for that. That was lifesaver. If anyone doesn't know, you get in trouble with birthday presents, Christmas presents, anything like that.
We do Halloween presents too.
Yeah, you do. Sorry. You just give Scotty a call. He gives you an array of assortment, array of what you need to buy, and
I loved it, guys.
It was awesome.
Tommy came down with Tara, and they walked in, and we had the room set up. We had champagne and flowers and stuff, and he picked her out a really nice present. And then it takes a real buddy to keep pulling you out. And you'll notice this about Tom. He keeps pulling me out of my comfort zone. He goes, hey, we're having drinks at the living room, and we're eating right across the way at DC Ranch in Scottsdale. He sent me the text. And I'm like, I'm busy. And then talked to my GM, and he goes, get out of here, go. So I went and had a drink with you and Tara and got to celebrate her birthday.
We smoked a cigar.
We smoked a cigar at Cedar Room.
Light one up?
Yeah.
Light one up here.
Are you supplying me again this week? Because I came empty-handed.
I know.
All I brought was the cheap Costco old-fashioned mix.
I have no problem supplying cigars. I like to smoke them with people.
Wow. What do you recommend today?
I got a small little knuckle buster here. I got a My Father. I got that Sweet Jane again if you want.
I'm going to go Sweet Jane again. Look at this monster that he has compared to what I'm smoking. What's this one?
Bigger's better.
Wow. Bigger's better.
I'll go a little knuckle buster. Keep it small, light and easy today.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
So what's on the agenda?
So
I know we worked out some really good topics to talk about today.
Yeah, I wanted to start off with, first couple podcasts. Everyone wants to know, everyone said, "Is Scotty sick? Why is he losing weight? So much weight?" And I said, "It's the peptides.
Yeah,
we're taking care of the body, grinding it out.
Yep.
We need to get in the gym more, but we're." Do you know the peptides you're on, or do you need me to kind of fill you in on what I'm giving you?
So Tommy got me set up, and it is funny, and maybe I do look sickly anyways. I think it's just my face, but I've heard that more times over the last 2 weeks than I ever have. And to be honest, and you'll attest to this, Tom. I don't know. We started working out 2.5 years ago together. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know me too well, I haven't worked out really much at all in my life. Nobody ever showed me how to work out. I didn't know how to, lift weights at all. I didn't know what workouts to do. And it's not embarrassing, but you feel like you walk into a gym and I'm like, where do I even start? So Tommy was like, let's go. We start at 5:30 a.m. and we start tomorrow. And that was 2.5 years ago.
That's awesome.
And we worked out for a year and a half.
Yeah. We're doing a little NAD. We're doing a little tesamorelin.
Yep.
Burning some fat. It's just kind of melting off as we go here.
After working out for that long, I hit a wall and I was like, man, I have 20 pounds I need to, to knock off. So, what is it? Tesamorelin, NAD plus. That's a great one. I love that on the daily.
Yeah. The Wolverine. Are you on Wolverine?
I'm not.
So I take a Wolverine. It's got BPC 157, TB 500. All my joint pain, my arthritis pain's gone away. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retatrutide is one I'm on.
Yeah, that's a good one.
As well, just for a little bit. So
yeah, burns fat. It's really good stuff. So.
Yeah, the peptide game is crazy.
It's unbelievable.
I think they have ones that make your hair grow back now, or they're testing it. I don't know if they're proven yet, but I swear, you see right here?
Look good. You always have good hair.
I got a little bit of a comb over. I'm trying to grow out my hair, but it's
I'm in a jam.
I'll shoot that stuff straight into my skull as soon as they come out with that.
I'm in a little bit of a jam. I need a little more help than you do.
You need the turkey trip?
I need the turkey
We need
trip.
to go to
I'm
Turkey.
looking for guys that want to come to Turkey with me. So I don't have
Anybody
to go alone.
want to go on a trip to Turkey with Tom for a hair transplant? I think I don't know. I think you may not have to.
Yeah.
I think give it another year and we'll see how it is.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's funny. I wanted to ask you this last time and I totally forgot. We were kind of talking about business and how we hire, fire, and a challenge for most companies is finding employees. How do you guys? I mean, this would be totally new to me. How do you recruit jewelers? How do you recruit, the guys that work on the benches? I mean, that's got to be a pretty difficult task.
Yeah. Well, first off, you take, an already tough thing to do is hire quality employees, right? Just in general. And then you put in a hyper-specific job task in front of them.
Right.
That's, ring sizings, soldering rings, setting stones, doing all that stuff. And it's not easy. The benefit to that also is they run in a tight pack. So they all of the good jewelers kind of know each other.
Right.
And it might be similar in your industry where like your top tier plumbers all kind of know of each other.
Yeah.
So you get referred. I mean, my original jeweler, Roger, who I mentioned in the very first podcast when everything happened to him, he helped train one of my current jewelers about 25 years ago.
Oh, nice.
So when everything happened, I already had a contact, which was phenomenal. He stepped in. He goes, I'm just here to help you. So it's a really tight group of people. And then that jeweler knew the other jeweler that I have and knew the other jeweler. So it's a referral basis. And I think when you really take care of your people in any position, bench jeweler, customer service, sales rep, whatever it is, they want to share the good news about your company.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, hey, I know a guy if you need a guy. So that's kind of how it's just kind of, they pick up the phone and they let them know, hey, you need another bench jeweler.
That's
all right,
awesome.
Yeah, we're ready. We have enough job flow. And we turn about 7,000 jobs a year. So these guys are just rocking and rolling and they're good at what they do. How about you?
Awesome.
How does that?
Very similar. I mean, I would say in the last, you take, 6-7 years ago, we were struggling. We were trying to, find our way. We were trying to hire really good guys and just, hoping for the best. But the last few years, we brought people from other companies, and believe it or not, we pay weekly, we pay on time, we pay their commissions, we pay what they're owed, and that goes a long way.
Is that not a thing? Like
it's mind blowing. The guys that come to me and say, "I'm sick of my other company. They're dragging out my pay. They don't pay me in full. They're dragging it out, 2 weeks. They don't pay me overtime. It's just mind blowing." So
I thought those days were gone. Like why would those people stick around just because they've been there so long and they don't know any different?
I just don't think they know any different. Yeah. So that's what's been our success. Guys are like, hey, we're doing good over here. Tom's giving us full days worth of work. He's giving us good jobs. We're doing work that other plumbers can't do. So they're fun jobs, and they're just they're actually calling me, looking for openings.
So and that sounds so simple, but literally just having the job box, what we have, it's called our job box, full, and being consistent in that, and it's not ups and down. Hey, I need you to lay you off for 6 weeks because we have no work.
Crazy.
There's no problem with that when you have a good stable company.
The last guy I hired was like, I'm sitting at the shop waiting for calls to come in. I'm like, Jesus.
That's
terrible. I don't have enough guys for the calls to come.
When's the last time you sat and waited for a call?
I like I said in the 4 or 5 podcasts ago, I started here, 23 years ago. I haven't stopped since.
Yeah.
Never stopped since. But
yeah, for us, we've had summers that slow down for sure for repairs every once in a while, but that kind of died off maybe 10 years ago, in the first 10 years of business. But we haven't seen those days, knock on wood.
Yeah.
And we don't take it for granted, right?
That's awesome. Something I wanted to touch base with, obviously we ran out of time. We see a huge influx of PE groups, private equity groups.
Right.
For you guys that don't know, large investors are coming up and they're buying up a lot of service companies.
Yeah.
They're looking for the investment. They're lumping them together, reselling them. It's taking the personal touch out of family-owned businesses. Do you see that in the jewelry industry?
To be honest, I would say the home service industry, I'm not even in it, but I know so many people that have been touched or approached or whatever by private equity, and it's phenomenal the amount of money that's pouring into home services. We haven't seen that in jewelry, I would say, like very, very minimally. There was, the fast fix jewelry places in the malls, those little stands. Yep. I think those got bundled up, maybe 15 of them, bundled up and sold a number of years back. And then beyond that, you have your big guys, which are like your Signet, your K Jewelers and Hellsberg and those places, which are kind of like, your mall jewelry stores and whatever, $99, rings and things like that. And they've acquired a repair center 2 years ago, but to be honest, they don't. But tell me more, like, what does that have? You must get approached. I don't know if you do, but you must get emails, phone calls, things like that.
Emails constantly. People looking to buy the business. People want to evaluate us. It's nonstop.
What does it even mean though for a company? Because again, I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't know the inner workings of this. So this company, this fund comes in and says, "Hey, I want to buy your business completely, or I want to buy half of it, or what are we going to do to the business afterwards?" What does that even mean?
I don't know the specific details. We can get a couple guys on the podcast that could explain that, but
yeah, I'd be curious.
From what I've heard and learned and kind of picked up from other companies is these private equity companies are seeing that these service industries are pretty lucrative and they can get a return on their investment, and they're coming in, they're buying like 5 to 6 to 7 companies, and they're bringing them together. I think they shave overhead off, make them more profitable.
Sure.
And what they're doing is they're making them more attractive to a larger company, I believe. And that's when you're going through 1 or 2 sales. But
so that's got to be a culture shock. I mean, to the people working there. But I mean, I'm sure there's good things that come of it. Probably for you, not being private equity.
Yeah, so it's been pretty successful for us. We're picking up a lot of their technicians. We're picking up a lot of work from them, and it's people don't want to work with large corporations. If it's X for this water heater, and there's no play in the pricing, where they call us and it's like, hey, you've been with us for 15 years. What? Let's give them a little bit of a discount. Or hey, they're a first responder. Let's give them a first responder discount. Or the decisions lie with me.
Yeah.
And when my team comes to me and say, hey, listen, we have this issue, we have this problem, we have someone that can't afford it, we have someone that needs needs help, I can make that decision.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give it away. I mean, whatever. I can donate stuff at, Anthem Days. I could donate stuff. Nanette Miller does a great, a great ball for the military. We can donate stuff to there. Todd and Joe Alvarez run something for the Rotary, for the country club. We can donate. Where you lose that when your private equity.
They may say we've donated enough this year. That's it.
Oh God.
That's interesting. There's not a cloak of secrecy. I think the information's out there, but maybe for me, I just haven't explored it deep enough. But I would love to hear from, or to have on some guests.
We should bring some guys
that have done it, that have that maybe are in private equity themselves and can help an idiot like me understand what that even means and what that looks like for culture and what the benefits and the and the pros and cons are of doing something like that. If you'd be open to that.
Yeah, we should bring Travis, a good friend of ours, owned ProSkill. I think he's still a partial owner, but obviously had some health reasons that he had to step back from it, and I know they sold to private equity, and but I'd love to get his take on it. I know he wanted to stay in it, but I think with some of the stuff he had, and he could explain it, but they had to kind of.
I'd love to have Travis on. He would come on.
Take a deep second. Take a breath and kind of step away. But we'll get him on. We'll get him on the next one.
Yeah,
but
it's an interesting world. I don't know why it hasn't happened to the jewelry industry, and it sounds like, policies, procedures, rule books, all that stuff, which honestly is a good structure to have within a business. And we've been trying to implement a lot of those things ourselves, standard pricing books to base off of. So, it is the same for the next guy, but also, again, we have price consideration for someone that's been with us for a while, or if they're doing multiple things. That's all good, healthy business. And, I both you and I want to grow good, healthy businesses, but we don't want to lose the touch of who we are, right?
Yeah. How do you? So, I'm always surprised when I come to your shops. I mean, they're gorgeous. They're in great neighborhoods. DC Ranch, Carefree, Anthem. How do you? I mean, it always seems like you're affordable. Yeah. How do you keep your costs down?
It's one of the trickiest things. There's so many name brands out there, and you probably have this in your world, and you could pay for a name brand to get the highest of high and get that Gucci bag or that Louis Vuitton, and there's a time and a place for that. I mean, I like that stuff too, for sure, but what I try to do, I'm the buyer for everything.
Okay.
So being third generation jeweler, we've been buying since 1949 for a long time. So we go out, we belong to different buying groups and things like that. So it's not just a 1-store or a 3-store operation that we're buying for. We have thousands of people that help drive our price down to an affordability level. And then you also look at, do people want that brand name, or would they rather have a similar looking item with comparable craftsmanship for a reasonable price? And I think there's a little bit of both. When you start tipping below that scale of, hey, I saw it cheaper online, send me the specs of what it is online, because I can guarantee you the thing weighs like 1 gram of gold for a chain, and it's a hollow chain, and it's gonna break every single time. Or we can spend the little extra money, and I'll try to guide you not to spend your money just for the sake of doing it, but spend it in the right ways. And I think I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
We work hard on
totally makes sense
on price. We're aware.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And with repairs too, I'm never going to be the lowest, because I actually like to pay my people appropriately, so they come back and you get consistent quality at whichever store you go to. So all of my jewelry repair people are paid very well. Right. They might be top in the valley, to be honest. With that comes a price that the client, that if they choose to go through with everything, is going to have to pay.
Right.
So we're never going to be bottom of the list, because I actually want to take care of my people, but also it's not going to be some Astronomical thing that's unreasonable either. So you get what you pay for.
Totally. We're kind of in the same boat. I mean, there's companies out there that are just completely gouging people. Guys work off full blown commission. It gets out of control sometimes. Our struggle is we spend so much time training our technicians. So when you put dollars to cents on what a guy takes to run an hourly rate, we have to take into consideration that we're doing 3 to 4 hours of training a week. We're coming in where guys are getting their material ready, guys are cleaning the truck, so that adds up to the overhead of the company. We're implementing all these standard operating procedures that kind of help the customer and kind of guide the guys to do the right job, and couple that with health insurance, 401k, eye, vision, dental. It's hard to come in and do the $75 repair on a faucet. So
yeah,
but
there are those plumbers that maybe that's for them, and
totally.
that is totally okay. It's like the $50 ring or something like that. I might not be that guy, and I can't be everything to everybody, just like you can't either. But also when they go to you, and if they ever have an issue, it's a quick phone call and it's handled, right?
Yeah, totally. It's hard because I want to help everybody.
Yeah.
Tommy
has a tough exterior, New York cop, tough as nails. However, he's got one of the biggest hearts. Yeah. Which is why I'm sitting here in this chair.
I'm sensitive to everyone around me, the customers, and how we treat them. I want. I see these people every day. I see them in in the restaurants. I see them at Legends. I see them at the club, and I want people to say, hey, this guy took good care of me, and I'm happy for that. So,
well, I think there's not a speck of bad press or anything like that on you that I have known personally. Yes, I have dirt on you, but not not out there business wise.
Yeah, maybe a couple more drinks will get it out of us.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry.
It's funny. We talked about what makes you, what made you want to start your business. You come out here, you want great life, your family, the whole 9 yards. But I was thinking about that, a couple weeks ago after we had our podcast. Yeah. And it really clicked, what made my decision. But what made your decision to say, listen, I want to take over the family business and I want to run it? Did you have a aha moment, or was it a series of events? What made you say, I want to have my own business. I want to run my own company.
That's a loaded question, and we don't have 10 hours, but if I could sum it up to 3 things that happened. The first thing was when I worked for Wells Fargo. I worked for their education financial services. I was in their student loan department as a supervisor.
This is another thing I'm learning about you.
And when I first came out here, Dad said, you can't join the business. You got to go work for corporate America first or another job, just to confirm that you really don't like that lifestyle, which was, he's wise beyond his years when it comes to the advice he gives me. I was on a phone call, or I took a phone call, an escalation call, and it was somebody that needed a Spanish translator. So I walked over to the Spanish-speaking department, and I pulled over this guy, Oscar, and I said, hey, can you do a translation for me? I know the solution for it, but I know that. And he was going to help me. He talked to the customer, and then I got an email. It was an email or a phone call later that said you weren't supposed to do that. You were supposed to kick them back in the line. And then if they made it to that, and I said, I had been on the phone with this person for about 45 minutes at that point. I knew everything that needed to be done, and I was getting my hand slapped. So I walked out of the building, called my dad. I said, listen, I don't think I can do this anymore, because I wasn't in charge of taking care of the customer from farm to table, the whole process. And it ate me up. And luckily Jesse's able to compartmentalize that stuff, and she was able to just stay there for 10 years, get all the benefits and stuff for us. But so that moment pushed me to make a push on my dad after I'd been at Wells Fargo. It was 2 or 3 years. The second one is my wife's support, Jessie. Without a doubt, without her being able to stay at Wells Fargo, I wouldn't have been able to, move over to work with my dad without getting a pay raise or anything like that, and and learn everything that I needed to about the business. So shout out to Jessie for like, she's like, no, this is, if you want to do this, I'll support you and we'll do whatever we have to do to do it.
That's awesome.
And then honestly, the one that pushed me further after I had taken over and bought the business, I wasn't given the business and I wanted it that way, and we were happy to do it. The one that pushed me to want more than just existing with one location's fine, and it wasn't about that, but put the growth mindset in my head was Travis Ringy.
Oh, nice. Travis again. Pops
Travis
up. We definitely
again.
got to get him on here.
Yep, 1,000%. And it was just support and non-judgment and, hey, I think you can do this without telling me you need to do this, you need to grow, or you need to do that. So just seeing that it's possible from one of your buddies and having them pat you on the back has been huge. So
nice.
How about you? I mean,
it's funny.
It's obviously weighing on your mind.
Well, it's funny because we talk about this all the time. I mean, we probably talk about this for the last 10 years. Like, everyone wants to be a business owner, have their own business. But I was thinking about it after we spoke, and there was definitely kind of a couple defining moments. And when I was a cop, I also had a very good, lucrative plumbing business. So I kind of went to work at the police department with kind of a chip on my shoulder. Like, I don't need this job. Like, I could support my family very well without it. And not to the fault of the guys I worked with, that was all they had. And I mean, we were working a job that, paid pretty decent, health benefits. You really didn't have to, worry about getting customers or clients. But I just had I had very little, I couldn't deal with stupidity. And we had a lot of stupidity at the police department. Now, this is not a knock on the guys I worked with, because I work with some of the greatest guys in the world.
What do you mean, politics-wise, just stupidity?
Yeah, politics-wise. I mean, we would have to get summonses. We would have to do, things that just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
We wanted to fight crime. We wanted to help people. We wanted to save people.
Yeah.
And, if we, starting off when I got on the police department in 97, it was rookies got treated like shit. I remember walking into my precinct in the 101 Queens the first day, and, your bosses, your sergeants were these, sharp looking guys, and they were like, this is how it's going to be. Don't cause any trouble. Go out on your foot post or in your patrol car and stay out of trouble. Don't get hurt. Don't hurt anybody. And let's have a safe day.
Yeah.
And we were, rookies were treated like shit. Just
it's like a freshman in high school walking in, and the seniors.
I mean, if a senior patrol officer went on a DOA, like a dead on arrival, like a person that died, whether it was natural causes or a shooting or whatever, and they needed someone to sit on the body, until the coroner got there, they would, pull a rookie like me and put me on there. So, but as it kind of went into the later years, where I should have been now the guy that had seniority, and I wasn't, the guy treated like shit, there was a little bit of a shift where, we worked under Giuliani, and it was, balls to the wall, no shit, take no shit, fight crime, stopping guys with guns, getting into fights, getting spit at, the whole 9 yards, where now the rookies were the ones out there writing summonses like crazy and going after people on bicycles on sidewalks and giving them summonses. And so the guys who had the more summonses were treated better by the new regime of bosses.
The chain of command was kind of just
it was like
out.
The old bosses were kind of being phased out, the new bosses were being phased in. So I really spent my, I worked 7 years before I retired, but it was like 7 years of I was never on that side where it was easy to work, right?
Yeah.
So, I would come into work, after making great money at my plumbing job, and I would have some boss that was younger than me telling me, hey, we need to get some, summonses today. And for you that don't know, summonses is what, tickets, summonses is what generates the city's money.
I was nodding my head like I knew what it was, and I kind of had a
so
gist.
It generates money.
So there's a push for that, actually. Say, hey, we need to generate
it's an
more.
unwritten rule.
Wow.
I'm not going to confirm or deny, but it's
Understood.
an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
So, some of the best cops that were out there getting guns off the streets, taking murderers off the streets, were forced to write summonses, parking summonses, moving violations and beer drinking summonses. And
so the wind is taken out of your sail.
It was like nonstop. It was just nonstop. It was tough. And, even when we were doing plain clothes, our plain clothes team, because we were taking guns off the street. We were taking, tons of drugs off the street, taking guys that were killing people off the street. Because our summonses weren't up, we were forced to, get back. We call it get back in the bag, but it was get back in uniform and get on patrol. And you were to go out there and get some moving violations. And we started writing, summonses for people with no tail lights. And
so that is true. You know what? I'm
not going to say it's true.
I knew it. It's like even around here in Maricopa County, I'm riding on the 17, and all of a sudden, you guys know what I'm talking about. You see a cop. 2 minutes
Start
later,
of the month.
another cop.
Start
2
of the
minutes
month.
later, another cop. And I don't mind them being there as long as you're doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But they have to
And
hit
this
their
isn't
quota.
a knock. This isn't a knock on what goes on.
No, of course not. No.
But for me, I don't know what happens here, but for me personally, we get pulled off of guys that are, drug dealers or murderers.
Yeah.
To write summonses.
Yeah.
And then we started writing, taillight summonses because it was an easy one. The guy can get their taillight fixed, they can go in, get a fit, and it ended up costing the city money. So this big, everybody was doing it. So this big initiative came down, no more taillight summonses, costing the city too much money.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm spilling the beans here.
Yeah,
but,
all right, jeez. You loved or hated, I don't know.
But even after I came back here and from Anthem, buying a home, I went back, I put my retirement papers in. All the old timers were like, great job, kid. You did a good job. Good for you. So proud of you. We had some of the new bosses that were like, listen, you're not getting off easy.
Wow.
Put the uniform on and let's go get some summonses.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough.
Up until the very end.
It was just I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, and I didn't like the stupidity.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm moving on. And I'm moving on.
That when you go through that affirms your decision of what you made, because you look back. But if you didn't have that, you'd say, oh man, I wish I was an NYPD cop, and you wouldn't have had that. So everything worked out the way it was supposed to.
If I could do it all over again, I would do the same thing. It was great. I loved it, had a great time.
Tommy, I have a gift for you today.
Uh-oh.
And the gift is I'm going to pay the price to hear a crazy Tommy cop story. We got to come up with a good name for this. I don't know what it is, but I love hearing the stuff. You probably shouldn't tell me this, and we don't want to make it too long, but I've held on to this for a long time, and I got it years ago, but it's a gem uncirculated 9/11 World Trade Center Ground Zero Recovery Liberty coin.
Wow.
Which is slabbed up. It's pretty dope. It's cool. I hope you keep that for the rest of your life.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you.
But dollar-wise, it's worth $80, whatever, just in silver. But it's the
it's awesome. It's worth
a sentiment.
More. Yeah, it's worth more to me than that.
And it's a walking Liberty silver coin.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It's a very cool thing. So that's my price of admission this time, to hear the crazy Tommy story. I don't know if you can cook one up.
So I thought of
quickly.
a couple since our last couple podcasts. I got a few I could tell. So quick one. Coming in we were coming in for a 4 to 12. So 4 to 12 is we work from 4 in the afternoon to 12 o'clock at night. Getting in our cars. Call comes over the radio. I forget the code at the time, but it came in human head found. So we're all at
There's
roll.
a code for that?
Yeah, it was. I forget what the code was.
All right.
It's been a long time, but human head found. Need units to respond. So we all look at each other at roll call, and every sector's like, we got to see what the fuck this is.
Oh my
this
gosh.
is like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, that doesn't.
So we all shoot down there, right? We all shoot down there, and it's a fisherman on Jamaica Bay, right by the airport, overlooking the airport, JFK Airport. And guy's fishing, pulls up a garbage bag.
Oh my gosh.
And in the garbage bag is a human head.
Oh my gosh. This is like a Tony Soprano moment. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And the guy hung around. I mean, well, I guess what?
Well,
do
the
you
guy's
do,
staying
right?
there. So
Yeah.
we all. I mean, now every sector in the precinct is there, and
Oh
we're
my
like
gosh.
all taking a look at it. We're like, what the fuck? Holy shit.
Oh.
So
Is stupid? Is this an old head that's been there for a while?
no.
Oh
It
my
was. It
gosh.
looked like someone lit it on fire.
I want to throw up.
It looked like someone lit it on fire. So here comes the detectives now. Detectives roll in. We had a detective that was kind of like, didn't really give a shit, but she was like, whose sector is this? And it ended up being my sector. And they're like, we want you to, check these abandoned buildings. And they were, to set the stage, it was, if it was a 30 house, lot, maybe there was only 15 houses standing. Everything else was kind of knocked down. It was weeds, waist high. And so me and my partner Ralph start kind of driving around, and we're looking, and we're just kind of looking at some of his houses. And here's a completely abandoned house with a garage door down on a brand new Lexus. The front of the Lexus is hanging out. So we're like, oh no.
Gosh.
Get out, walk in, and there's the rest of the body cut up in pieces in the backseat of the car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we're like,
and they just left it there?
yeah. So what they
Oh my god.
what they
that's
ended
terrible.
up doing was executing the guy. He was a witness. They cut him up, threw him in his car in the Lexus, and then threw his head in for identification purposes. After lighting him on fire, threw him in the bay.
Oh my
and
gosh.
here comes this fisherman pulling him in. So
I'm sorry I asked for a story today.
Yeah,
That's
no,
above
you
my
got
pay
one.
grade. Oh my gosh.
you got one. So we, my friends listening to this are gonna absolutely remember every detail. But here we are. Here we are now. We're like, 1 Eddie Central, be advised, have the detectives respond to our location. We found the rest of the body.
Oh, my gosh.
And everybody comes down, investigation goes on, coroner comes down, they throw all the body parts into a body bag. They put it in front of the house, and they're like, you and your partner are going to sit on this till the coroner comes. Now, this is like 5-6 hours later, and here comes the good detectives. I'm going to call them the Black Cloud. Everybody here knows who the Black Cloud is, but one of the best detectives we had on the department. If you remember my shooting story, he's the guy who caught the shooter who shot at us.
Wow.
Black Cloud comes in, open the bag up. Let's take a look at it. He starts investigating. He puts his rubber gloves on, picks up the head. He's
my gosh.
looking at it. He's like, hey, have you ever felt the
No.
weight of a head? And
Oh
we're
my
like,
gosh.
wow, this thing's heavier than I thought it would be.
Oh, how heavy is a head? Isn't
Yeah,
it like
pretty-
8 pounds?
pretty fucking heavy.
Oh my god.
But
disgusting.
yeah, so coroner came, took the body, but yeah, it ended up being a pretty interesting day.
That's a great story. That's a terrible story.
You wanted it. You got it.
I asked for it.
Was
I
that
paid
worth
the
the
price.
coin?
It was worth the coin. And I think that's the perfect way to end. If you're okay with
Segment
that,
out. Segment
can
out,
we
yeah.
segment out of this
Yeah.
one? Because I might need a minute. But I want to thank everybody for joining us for
Yes,
episode
thank you
4,
again.
Pipes and Polish. Tom Ford, Scott Zykowski, and one hell of a story. Thank you, Tommy.
Been fun. Thank you again.
It's been fun. It's been something. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
All right.